Welcome to a wide open space. Here, our focus is strengthening our faith, cultivating ourselves, and creating lives that we love. I'm your host, Reverend Dr. Nichelle Guidry Stewart. Well, hello, and welcome back to a wide open space. I am your host, Reverend Dr. Nichelle Guidry Stewart, and I'm so grateful that you have chosen to spend another Saturday with me out in this wide open, decidedly womanist space where the spiritual growth, the personal development, and the overall flourishing and thriving of Black women is unapologetically centered. First and foremost, let me say, Happy Black History Month, y'all. It is the first episode of February, and I do not want to miss the opportunity to just salute all of us as we are celebrating our history, our legacy, our greatness, our culture, our beauty, and all the reasons why we love being gang. Happy Black History Month. And I absolutely love that the second Saturday of the month, is Valentine's Day. And so, yes, I am doing the obvious. And I am talking about something that is deeply personal, but something that is also profoundly political, and that is Black love. I am talking about all kinds of Black love. I'm talking about self-love, romantic love, sisterhood love, because Black love in all of its forms is a beautiful, profound, and revolutionary act of resistance, a site of healing and transformation, and a vehicle for becoming our most authentic selves and our most aligned and powerful and empowered communities. Black love, it is that source and that force of which the great Susan L. Taylor writes the following words, and I'm coming from her book, All About Love. She writes, "The empowerment of our race is directly tied to our being dedicated to Black love and spiritual growth. Our hunger for bonding, connection, tenderness, and our vulnerability are not symptomatic of weakness, but of an innate need for love and intimacy. Both women and men must give up the myth of male superiority." And I would amend that to say people of all genders have to give up the myth of male superiority, which is just another form of bigotry. We have to grow. We have to grow up. We have to cultivate respect and reverence for one another, to learn to trust and to turn to one another and to work together, not against one another, for our mighty race to be strengthened and empowered. And she writes, to catch up. Black love, it is that source and that force that we see in Jill Scott's unabashed love for herself, that we hear in the laughter of Eartha Kitt when she laughs at the idea of compromising for somebody else. It is the love that we see in the greats, Barack and Michelle, Beyonce and Jay-Z, Denzel and Pauletta, and for the sake of rhyme and also logic, my parents, Theo and Della. We see it in Dwayne and Whitley. We see it in Martin and Gina. We see it in Issa and Molly, Beyonce and Kelly. We see it in Niecy and Jessica. We see it in Khadijah, Regine, Sinclair, and Maxine. We see it in the Winslows. We see it in the Bankses. And for better and for worse, we see it in the Huxtables. We hear Black love. We hear it in Anita singing, "I love you just because I do." We hear it in Maxwell's "Whenever, Wherever, Whatever." We hear it in Kenny Lattimore's "For You." We hear it in Beyonce's "Me, Myself, and I." We see it in Darius and Nina and Love Jones. We see it in Quincy and Monica and Love and Basketball. And I am just so grateful that, contrary to so many of the dominant narratives and stereotypical tropes, we have images and sounds from Black art, from our real lived experiences and families and communities, from Black literature, that Black love is real, it is alive, it is evolving, and it is a force for good. It is soft and it is willful and it is safe. It is not always toxic. It is not always just about the high value man and the power couple. It is also a refuge from this very racist world. It is an empowering force. It is sure, it is solid, and it is adventurous. And Black love is for all of us. And so today, that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about Black love, because where would we be without it? I want to ground us in a quote. It is a quote that means a lot to me, because this was a quote that I actually quoted in my vows to my husband on our wedding day. And I love this because I got a couple of questions from some of my former students to address on today's episode. And one of them actually included this quote. And so the quote says the following. This is from Toni Morrison's novel, Jazz. And it really has shaped how I think about love in this era of my life. She writes, "Nobody gave you to me. Nobody said, that's the one. I picked you out." And I'm doing a little redacting here. But the picking out, the choosing, don't ever think I fell for you or fell over you. I didn't fall in love. I rose in it. I saw you and I made up my mind. And I made up my mind to follow you too. I didn't fall in love. I rose in it. That's the line where we're going to park it and explore a little bit today. So today we're talking about love as a powerful vehicle for personal growth and transformation. Not love as something that just happens to us, but love as something we choose, something we rise in, something that helps us to become our most genuine and authentic selves. I'm not talking about love that takes from you and drains you. I'm talking about love that, if or when it ever does that, it has something else to give to you, something else to pour back into you. I'm talking about love that is mutual, that is reciprocal, and that once again, that can become a powerful vehicle for you, not just becoming the called person that you are, but for doing the amazing work, right, that you've been designed to do. I believe that love is a classroom where we are constantly learning about ourselves, about others, about the world, about what it means to show up fully and authentically in relationship. I believe that love is a mirror where we see ourselves in new lights, sometimes beautiful, sometimes sobering, but always revealing. And I believe that love is a slow, long walk with another person, where giving and receiving are always happening at once, where we're not losing ourselves in someone else, but finding ourselves more fully through the practice of loving and being loved. And I want to talk about some of the conditions that help us to rise in love instead of fall in love. I want to talk specifically about things like intentionality. I want to talk about agency. I want to talk about self-awareness. And I want to talk about readiness that makes love a site of growth instead of a site of loss, trauma, and heartbreak. I'm also going to answer, again, two really beautiful questions that came from one of my mentees about what it looks like to rise in love as a practice and how to maintain your precious individuality while building relationship and growing in love with someone else. So let's go to the word. I'm going to go somewhere that might be a little bit unexpected because when we talk about love, we often think about 1 Corinthians 13, which is lovely. We might also think about, some other things, but I have been indelibly shaped for love by the book of Songs of Solomon. And when we get to Women's History Month, Women's Herstory Month, I'm going to do a full episode about a book that has, to say that this book has changed my life would be an understatement. But it's a book called What Matters Most, and it's by the Reverend Dr. Renita J. Weems, and it is an exploration of the book of Songs of Solomon. And it's not all about, the love and the lust between these two people, because I think if we narrow the book down to just that, we miss the marrow and the bones. Dr. Weems, through this powerful womanist exegesis of the book, lets us know this book is really about a woman's interior world, the Shulamite woman, the one who refers to herself as I am Black and beautiful. And, through that lens, this book has real potent, transformative content that has, again, totally changed my life. I want to ground us in this scripture, Songs of Solomon 8:4, where we find a refrain that is repeated 3 times throughout the book of Songs of Solomon. And this is the Shulamite woman's words to her friends, the daughters of Jerusalem. She says, "Do not arouse or awaken love until it so desires." 3 times. 3 times this instruction appears in Songs of Solomon. And I, have been sitting with the Bible for some years. And I know that when scripture repeats itself, we ought to be taking pause and paying attention. Do not arouse or awaken love until it so desires. At first glance, it might seem like it's just about timing. Don't rush into love, wait for the right moment. And yes, I do think that is a part of it. But I think that there's something deeper here about readiness, about preparation, about the conditions that must be met in order for love to be able to really actualize its transformative power in our lives. Love has its own seasons. It has its right time. And we can't force it or rush it or manipulate it into existence before we're ready to steward it well. I want you to maybe think back to some of your earliest love experiences, maybe an early crush or a first love or a first time you were committed or connected to someone intimately. Back before you knew yourself, before you had done or embarked upon your personal healing work, before you understood what you were really looking for in a partner and why you were looking for those things. That love, very early love, was often very confusing. Even though it might have been intoxicating, as the love in Songs of Solomon clearly was, it was often also chaotic and distressing and, the young people today would say toxic, right? Which the love in Songs of Solomon also qualifies as all of that. Many of us may have had experiences of losing ourselves instead of finding ourselves, and falling instead of rising in love. But when love is awakened at the right time, when you're ready, when you know who you are, when you've done enough work to show up authentically, to name your needs and to ensure that they are met, that is when love becomes what it's meant to be: a classroom, a mirror, and a slow, long walk where you are learning and growing and becoming more fully yourself, even as your partner is doing the same. The wisdom of Song of Solomon is this, is that there's power in waiting, that there's power in preparation, and that there's power in making sure that when love comes, you are really ready to rise into it. And friends, this applies to all kinds of love, not just romantic, intimate love. This applies to the love you have for yourself, because part of getting to love yourself is giving yourself the opportunity to really get to know yourself, having single seasons and embracing them, accepting yourself, loving yourself, and forgiving yourself. This applies to romantic love, because you can't build a healthy partnership with someone else if you're still healing from the last relationship or still trying to figure out who you are. And this also applies to sisterhood love, because you can't show up authentically in friendship if you're still performing, still hiding, still trying to get them to like you, and trying to be who you think people want you to be instead of who you really are. Don't arouse or awaken love until it so desires, until you're ready, until the conditions are right, until you can rise into the love rather than fall into love. So let's meditate on love as a vehicle for your personal transformation. Let me share a little bit about what I've learned about personal growth and transformation through the lens of love and how love can aid in that process. And then I will answer those questions that I referred from my former student. So the first thing, and you've heard me say this a couple of times, love is a classroom. What do I mean by that? Is that every relationship that you enter into, every relationship that you're in with yourself, with a partner, with your friends, is teaching you something. It teaches you about your patterns. It shows you where you have done significant healing and where you might still need to tend to some woundedness. It reveals your triggers and your defenses, your ways of protecting yourself that might have served you in a previous era of your life, but do not serve the same purposes anymore. Love teaches you about reciprocity, what it feels like to give and to receive in balance, and what it feels like when that balance is off. Love teaches you about boundaries, where you end and someone else begins, and how to maintain your sense of self while also opening yourself up to connection and intimacy. Love teaches you about forgiveness, how to extend grace to others, and to love yourself when you mess up. Because in love, you will mess up. We all do. Let's go ahead and normalize it. But here's the key. The right love, the love that you rise into instead of fall into, teaches you without diminishing you, teaches you without crushing your spirit, without shaming you, without making you feel worse about dropping the ball than the dropping of the ball makes you feel on its own. It is a classroom. And number two, love is also a mirror. When you love someone well, whether it's yourself, a partner, or a friend, again, you see yourself reflected back to you in ways that you might not see otherwise. And sometimes that reflection is beautiful. You get to see your capacities for tenderness. You get to see your capacities for kindness, for patience, and for joy. You see how strong you are. You see your resilience. You see how capable you are. And you see how you're willing to show up even when times are hard. And but sometimes that reflection that you see back can be very sobering. You can see your selfishness. You see your fears. You see your tendency to run or to hide or to shut down or to lash out when you're afraid or when you've been hurt. You see the ways you protect yourself that actually keep you from the intimacy that you are so deeply craving. But in the right love, the love that helps you rise, that mirror doesn't condemn you. It reveals you so you can grow. It shows you what needs healing so you can seek that healing. It reflects back your beauty and your brokenness with equal honesty and equal grace. Number three, love is a slow, long walk, not a sprint, not a performance, not a destination you arrive at and then you're done. Love is the practice of walking alongside someone else, whether that is yourself, a partner, or a friend, day after day, year after year, choosing them and choosing you at the same time. In that walk, giving and receiving are always happening simultaneously. You're not just pouring into someone else until you're empty. You're not just taking until you're full and they are depleted. You're in this beautiful, constant exchange, this flow where both of you are being nourished. Both of you are growing and both of you are becoming more fully yourselves through the practice of loving each other. My fourth thought is that the right love helps you actualize your authentic self. The right love, the love that helps you rise, helps you actualize your most genuine and your authentic self. It does not ask you to shrink. It doesn't ask you to use words that aren't as big. It doesn't ask you to put your brilliance on the shelf so that their ego can be stroked. No. The right love says, come with all of that. Come with all that experience. Come with that wisdom. Come with that insight. Come with those SAT words. Come with that beautiful style that you have. Come with those beautiful teeth that you have. Whatever. Come with all of it and do not diminish. Do not shrink. Do not perform as if you are not an amazing human being who has worked hard to get to the place that you're at. This love does not demand that you be anything other than who you actually are. And I want to pause right here because one of the most important books that I've ever read on this, in addition to What Matters Most, is Communion, The Female Search for Love by Bell Hooks. I just don't think it's possible that we can talk about anything having to do with Black women and love without talking about Bell Hooks' trilogy, all about love, communion, and salvation. And I'll never forget this story in the book Communion about how she was with this man, with this person, this suitor through her graduate program. And as she was graduating and was about to like move into this really prestigious job, her suitor all of a sudden switched up on her. And she became quite aware that as long as she was a student and as long as she was in, a position that might not be deemed as powerful, she could be in this relationship with this person and they could be in the relationship with her. But when she moved on up, this is a person who became insecure and very threatened by the success that she was accomplishing. And it probably is a story that many of us as ambitious women, driven women, career-oriented, purpose-minded women can relate to. That many of us have often felt that, I don't want to be too much because in so being or in so doing, I don't want to rock the boat that I'm on with this partner, with this person. But even Bell Hooks tells us that is not sustainable and it's not fair and it's not self-loving. And if you are in that kind of love, I hope that you can find your way off that boat, because the right love that sees you fully, the right love that you can rise into, celebrates you, claps for you. It creates space for you to grow into everything that God has designed for you to be. It encourages your gifts. It nurtures your calling, and it honors your boundaries and respects your individuality. And when you're in this kind of love, whether it's with yourself, your partner, or your friends, you don't lose yourself. You find yourself more fully, and you have somebody or somebody's, a community, a partner there to do it with you, there to celebrate it with you. And so now let me answer those questions. What does rising in love look like in practice? And I'm really thankful to my twinsy for sending me these questions because they get right to the heart of what I'm talking about on this episode. She writes, I've heard you quote Toni Morrison regarding this idea of not falling in love, but rising in it. What does that look like in practice? Here's what rising in love looks like in practice. Rising in love means that you consciously choose instead of reacting unconsciously. You're not swept away by chemistry or infatuation or the idea of being with someone or being in love. You are making an intentional, methodical, well-discerned decision about who you want to walk with and why they qualify to take that walk with you. Rising in love means that you stay awake in your relationship instead of going on autopilot. It means that you're paying attention to how you feel, how your partner makes you feel, whether the relationship is bringing out your best or whether it's triggering your past and your wounds. Rising in love means that you are taking responsibility for your part in the relationship instead of blaming the other person for everything. You recognize that you are bringing your own history, you're bringing your own wounds, your stories, you're bringing your own work that you're still doing into the relationship, and that it's not their job to heal you, but it's your job to continue to do that work. Rising in love means that you maintain your sense of self, even as you open yourself up to connection. You don't disappear into the relationship and you don't make them responsible for your happiness or your sense of self-worth. You stay grounded in who you are, even as you're building something with someone else. Rising in love means that you choose growth over comfort. Yes. The person who married my husband and I, he used to ask us this question when we were dating and we would be in conflict. He would ask, well, do y'all want to be right or do you want to be together? Do you want to be right or do you want to be together? Rising in love means that you are choosing growth together over your comforts and even your justifications. When the relationship reveals something that's hard to see, you don't run, you do the work, you learn the lesson, and you let love transform you. Rising in love means you know when to stay and you know when to leave. Because not every relationship is meant to last forever. I think we need to normalize that most of our relationships are going to end. And sometimes the most loving thing that you can do for yourself, and sometimes even for the other person, is to acknowledge this season has come to an end. Second question is on the importance of maintaining individuality while building a relationship. Oh, y'all, this is so important. This is so important because so many of us have been taught that love means merging. It means to become one. It means losing yourself in someone, but that is not rising in love. That's disappearing in love. Maintaining your individuality while you are in relationship can look like keeping your own interests, keeping your friendships, keeping your own spiritual practices. You don't abandon everything that makes you you just because you're in a relationship. It means having your own goals, having your own dreams that exist separate from the relationship. Your partner should support your calling, not replace your calling. Your friends should celebrate your growth, not be threatened by it. Speaking your truth, even when it's uncomfortable. Maintaining your individuality means that you don't just go along with the go along to keep the peace. You say what you actually think, say what you actually feel, and you say what you actually need. It looks like taking time for yourself without any guilt. You can love someone deeply and still need space to be alone, to step away, to step back, to rest, and to reconnect with yourself and with the people in your life who love you. And here's what I've learned, that the right love does not just tolerate your individuality, it celebrates it. The right love doesn't want you to shrink, hide, or perform, but it wants you to be you fully, authentically, and unapologetically. Because that's when you have the most to give. That's when the relationship is most rich and most satisfying. And that's when both of you are rising in love. And before we get to today's exercise, I just want to name here a couple of the conditions that make it possible to rise in love. This is really important. I hope you're taking notes. So number one is self-knowledge. It helps you to know yourself, to know your patterns, to know your stories, to know your preferences, to know who you are so that you can choose wisely who to love and to know what you are looking for in love. Understanding your values, understanding your belief systems, understanding your non-negotiables. Number two is self-love. You cannot receive love well if you don't already love yourself. You will either reject it because you don't think that you deserve it, or you'll cling to it with desperation because you're trying to fill a void that only you can fill. Number 3, readiness. Do not arouse or awaken love until it so desires, is what the Shulamite woman says to us. Make sure that you're actually ready for what love requires. That is vulnerability. That is honesty, growth. That is reciprocity. And the list goes on. Readiness. Number 4, intentionality. Rising in love requires choice. You have to pick someone. You don't have to just wait to be chose. You can do the choosing and the selecting, which is exactly my story with my husband. You can decide willfully to walk with that person, and you can commit to the work of loving them well. Number 5, reciprocity. Love only works when giving and receiving are happening at the same time in both directions. If you're doing all the work, that's not rising in love. That's sinking in love. Next, you need community. You need people around you who see you clearly, who celebrate healthy love, and who will also call out toxic and unhealthy patterns. You need people who are around you who will remind you who you are when you start to feel tempted to lose yourself or to diminish or hide yourself inside of your partner. And finally, and I would say most importantly, you need faith. Trusting that God is with you in this and that the right love will come at the right time and that you don't have to force anything. You don't have to rush anything. And you definitely do not have to settle for something that doesn't settle well in your spirit, because God really does have something good for you. Moving on to today's exercise. This is the love assessment. Here is your exercise for the week, sisters. And I'm calling it the love assessment. And it is designed to help you evaluate where you are in your journey of rising in love with yourself, with others, and with the people that you're walking with. So again, I hope you have your notes ready. Let's go. First is your assessment of your readiness. I want you to honestly assess your readiness for love, not whether you want love, but whether you are really prepared to do the work of love. Ask yourself, do I know who I am? Do I love myself? Can I be alone with myself without feeling lonely? Do I have a sense of my self-worth that doesn't depend on someone else's validation? Am I ready for reciprocity? Can I both give and receive? Or am I only comfortable when I'm doing one or the other? Be honest. There's absolutely no shame in not being ready yet. Sometimes the most loving thing that you can do is acknowledge that you still have more work to do, or you have more fun you want to have, or whatever, before you awaken love. Number 2, evaluate your current loves. I want you to think about the current loves that you're in: romantic relationship, close relationships, friendships, your relationship with yourself. And for each relationship, ask yourself, 1, is this love a classroom where I'm learning and growing? Or am I stuck in it, not going anywhere, circling the same things over and over again? Number 2, is this love a mirror? Am I seeing myself more clearly, or am I performing and hiding, hoping that my authenticity won't be found out? Is this love a slow, long walk? Are we both invested in this journey, or is one person carrying the majority of the load? Next, does this love help me actualize my authentic self? Am I becoming more fully me, or am I shrinking to fit? And finally, am I rising in this love, or am I falling, sinking, losing myself? Again, be honest and know that not every relationship is going to pass this test. And that's some good data. That is clarity about what might need to change. Number 3, name your conditions. Finally, I want you to write down these conditions that you need in place to rise in love. Based on what you've learned about you, what do you need to be true before you awaken or deepen love? This might include things like, I need to be in a consistent therapy practice, working on my attachment patterns. This might mean I need to have my own spiritual practice that grounds me and inspires me. I need to maintain my relationships and friendships and not disappear into my romantic partnerships. I need someone who respects my boundaries and actually listens to me. I need reciprocity. I need equal investment, equal effort. I need someone who celebrates my calling, not competes with it. Write all this down. Make it very clear. These, friend, these, sis, are your non-negotiables. And these are the conditions that will help you rise. And after you write them down, I want you to commit that I'm going to honor these, and I'm going to require that anyone who wants to be in a certain space in my life also honors them. Don't awaken or accept any love that doesn't meet these conditions, no matter how lonely you feel and no matter how much you want companionship, because the right love that helps you rise, I mean, I say this sort of as a living witness. It's worth it. It's worth it. It's worth it. I'm going to go ahead and wrap up for today, but I want to leave you with this last word. That Black love in all of its forms, self-love, romantic love, sisterhood love, is an act of resistance and a site of transformation. And when we choose to rise in love instead of fall in love, we maintain our individuality while building connection. And when we create the conditions that allows love to do its transformative work in our lives, we become more fully ourselves. Love is a classroom, it is a mirror, and it is a slow, long walk. And the right love will help you actualize your most genuine and your most authentic self. This Black History Month, I want you to celebrate the Black love in your life, the love that you have received, the love that you've given, the love that you are praying for, and the love you're still learning how to give and to receive. And I want you to commit to rising in all of this love that has been given to you. Do not arouse or awaken love until it so desires, until you are ready, until the conditions are right, and until you can rise. If this episode is stirring something in you, if you're finding yourself wanting to sit with it a little bit longer, I just want to invite you to just think about sharing it with someone and utilizing it as a conversation starter. Spend some time with the exercise and really get honest with yourself. And most importantly, I want you to take the time to love up on yourself. Give yourself some love. And if nobody else is going to take you out on a date, I want you to take yourself out on one and use that as an opportunity to find out more about what you like. What kind of cuisine do you like? What kind of ambiance do you need to feel sexy and to feel your most feminine? What kind of cocktail? What kind of wine? What kind of dessert are the most ideal accoutrement to the meal of your choice? Like, girl, luxuriate in some self-love. Okay? I want you to take the time to do that because once more and again, you are worthy. You are always worthy. Always worthy. Until next time, I love you. I'm praying for you. And I can't wait to see you back out here in this wide open space. Take care. Thank you for joining me in this wide open space. If this episode blessed you, please share it with the sister who needs it. Subscribe, rate, and review to help other listeners find us. And as you go, may you walk boldly in your calling and flourish in the wide open space God has prepared just for you. Be blessed, be bold, and be beautifully you.